Okay, I'm standing here at the First Street Cemetery and looking at the graves of the 9th Texas Infantry Regiment of the Confederate States of America. This story actually starts long before there was a Waco, before there was a Dallas. It starts in 1836 when Texas had just won its independence from Mexico, and the first Congress of the state of Texas passed a law that every able-bodied man in the state of Texas was required to join a militia unit. This was because they were afraid that the Mexican army might try to re-invade Texas. Even though they had Santa Anna captured, they were still afraid of the Mexican military. So one of the very first acts of the first legislature was to require all able-bodied men to form into militia units. At this time, this whole area was controlled by Tomas de la Vega, was the impresario that had gotten the grant to colonize this part of Texas. The other real urgent need for militia was rampaging Indians, especially Comanches and Kiowas, had a bad reputation of attacking the Anglos wherever they found them. But anyway, the men of this area formed a militia unit they were called traditionally Travis Guards or Travis Rifles. In this area they called it the Travis Rifles, but it was a Minutemen militia unit. These guys, they could band together, they had elected leaders, and they would form a force that could rapidly respond to any ravaging Indians. Well, then Texas, after it became part of the United States, the city of Waco was founded here by the traditional campgrounds of the Waco Indians, and the Confederacy came into bloom in 1861. The South seceded from the Union. Texas put out a call to arms, and at that time 500 men from Bell and McLennan County band together. They had been Travis Rifles. They banded together, marched to Austin, and joined the Confederate Army in Austin, enlisted, and became the 9th Texas Infantry. The 9th Texas Infantry fought in 17 major battles of the Civil War, including Chickamauga. They ended up becoming prisoners of war, and later they were exchanged for other prisoners. But these men, after the war was over, they had spent so much time together that instead of being buried with their own families, they elected to be buried here in First Street as the 9th Texas Infantry. And that's what we're looking at here today, remembering these veterans. The story doesn't quite end there, though. After the Civil War, they came back. The Travis Rifles reorganized because there was still the threat of Comanche and Kiowa Indian attacks. And they still needed a quick reaction force that could band together and go and fight Indians if there was an uprising. These guys reverted back to being Travis Rifles. The thing was going fine until 1875. During Reconstruction, the state of Texas was finally allowed to have free elections again. The carpetbagger governor was James Harris, that had been appointed to be the governor of the state of Texas during Reconstruction. Well, they practically looted the state. Anything that was of value was stolen. And Harris and his crowd did not want to give up their power, even though the first election the Texans could have, they elected Richard Koch from Waco, Texas, to be the new governor. Harris decided he was not going to let Koch take over the governorship. He was not going to step down and let Koch become the governor. So he barricaded himself in the Capitol building in Austin and ordered the militia, the Travis Rifles, to assemble and come to Austin and protect him. So here in Waco, the Travis Rifles mustered, got together, and they marched to Austin as ordered. Except when they got there, instead of protecting Harris, they fixed their bayonets, charged the Capitol building, captured Harris and all of his underlings, and held the Capitol in Austin until Koch could come up from Waco and take over and be sworn in as the new governor of the state of Texas. That's these guys here. If you're interested in this, Koch is buried in the Oakwood Cemetery, just about 10 blocks from here, and his gravestone is very noticeable because his wife had a full-sized statue of him commissioned, and he has a very ornate tombstone monument there at his gravesite. And just for the record, his wife also designed the grave opposite his. He's a very good friend of the family, and he has a matching gravestone where the two men's figures will spend eternity staring at each other. So anyway, that's it.